Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Rivers State House of Assembly begins impeachment proceedings against Governor Fubara, the deputy, at Thursday's seating. Fresh fears over resurgence of terror attacks as bandits and herdsmen kill 9 farmers and national park operatives in 2 states. United States government announces withdrawal from 66 international organizations they have described as wasteful, land ineffective. We have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. Aishat Saliu and Sumaya Abubakar are on standby in the FCT. Udoka Njoku joins from Morocco. Bongani Siziba will talk to us from Johannesburg, while Afia Hagan joins from London. We've got the details in a moment. Well, News Central has been following this story and once again would like to reiterate that the Rivers State House of Assembly has formally raised notices of alleged gross misconduct against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy during Thursday's seating. Citing Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, and other relevant laws, the House's leader, Major Jack, read the notice against the governor, while Deputy Leader Linda Stewart read the notice against the deputy governor. Key allegations include failure to present the state budget, unauthorized spending of public funds, withholding salaries and allocations due the assembly, bypassing proper screening of government appointments, and the demolition of the assembly complex. The 26 lawmakers say the governor and his deputy have shown incapacity to perform their constitutional duties. Now, the Speaker stated the notices will be officially delivered to both the governor and deputy governor within 7 days, as required by law.
Not FCT minister and the governor. It is the governor and the constitution. The governor is a threat to our democracy. It is better we all resign and leave the governor and those he wants to use to defraud Rivers people. We cannot continue to allow this to happen. We sit here, elected people, and we cannot follow, we cannot enforce the constitution. Then why are we here? Why are we sitting here? Why were we elected? For how long are we going to allow this to happen? Distinguished colleagues, enough is enough. If they want us to forget the legislature, we leave the legislature. Let only the governor and the deputy governor spend as they like and eat our money and do as they like. Why were we elected? Why do we have the legislature? Why can't we be allowed to do our job? Distinguished colleagues, I thank you for your contributions. We will follow this impeachment process through. The Supreme Court has confirmed that the governor has committed offenses against the Constitution. Let the law take its course. The law has to take its course. Mr. President, we thank Mr. President. He's a father. Mr. President has done his best. Mr. President has spoken to the governor. In my presence, Mr. President told the governor, I'm giving you a second chance. The governor refused. He gave him another one. The governor refused. How many times will Mr. President call us? Distinguished colleagues, I thank you for your contributions. Prayers have been properly canvassed by members. Those in favor of the prayers of this motion should indicate by saying ayes. Again, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, by this motion, this House hereby condemns the refusal of the Governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, GSSRS, with support from the Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Mma-Odo, DSSRS, to present the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEF, and 2026 Appropriation Bill in line with the Rivers State Fiscal Responsibility Law 2010 and the Constitution, respectively, as well as the reckless spending from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of Rivers State. 2, this House is declaring that the House will not proceed with any action for presentation of the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEF, and Appropriation Bill 2026 until the investigation of gross misconduct leveled against the governor and deputy governor are concluded. Distinguished colleagues, these are the prayers. Thank you so much. Clerk, do we have any other thing on the other paper?
Mr. Speaker, the order of the day has been exhausted.
Leader.
Honorable Speaker, very revered colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that this House stands adjourned to 15th day of January 2025 at 10 a.m. I so move.
You so move. Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I support the motion for adjournment as moved by the leader. I so support. Distinguished colleagues, the House stands adjourned to Thursday, the 15th day of January 2026 at 10 a.m. Mr. Speaker will now rise.
Well, that is the live footage from the Assembly regarding the impeachment proceedings. Now let's take a look at the steps provided for by the Constitution to impeach a governor in Nigeria. So the first step would be the notice of allegation, and at least 1/3 of lawmakers have to submit a written allegation of gross misconduct to the Speaker. And then the Speaker serves notice on the governor and all members within 7 days. And the governor may reply in writing, shared with all lawmakers, as you can see on the screen. Initial assembly vote, which is the assembly would vote without debate on whether to investigate, and this requires 2/3 majority to proceed as well. And of course, the chief judge appoints a 7-member panel to probe the allegations, and afterwards, the panel investigations lasts for up to 3 months, and the governor can defend himself within that time frame. And the panel submits findings to the assembly, and allegations must be substantiated to continue. And of course, there has to be the final assembly vote where the assembly votes to remove the governor, and that also requires 2/3 majority to approve. So that is the impeachment process against the governor in Nigeria. But in the meantime, joining us from Lagos is a constitutional lawyer, Todi Muige, and with him I also have Dr. Abiye Hector Goma, a River State stakeholder based in Leeds, United Kingdom. From Abuja, we also have Eze Onyekpere, who is a lawyer. Let me start off by asking Todimu regarding, the whole situation on ground. Now, the Assembly cites gross misconduct. Do these allegations actually meet the constitutional threshold, or some sort of political ambush to get Fubara out of the way by all means? Because let's not forget, this is the 3rd time that there is an impeachment attempt on him.
Yes, by the provision of the law, the House of Assembly in Rivers State has said that there's gross misconduct, and of course, you know that these are allegations until proven, and as provided for by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, particularly Section 188. Now, having said that, if the House of Assembly is saying that the governor, the allegations of gross misconduct, it needs to be proven. The grounds that they have stated, demolition of the House of Assembly, spending without budgetary allocations. Of course, these are gross misconducts that are actionable. If they are proven, they are still they are mere allegations, and until proven, the governor is innocent of those charges. And of course, the Constitution is very clear on the procedures and the steps to be taken in respect of the allegations.
Okay, let me come to Dr. Hector Goma now. The Assembly, we know that there's an allegation of gross misconduct. Dr. Hector, you are from Rivers yourself, and for a while, many people thought a political solution was the right path to resolving the crisis, but it appears that the matters have taken a different course. Now, is impeachment the right thing at this time? Let me direct that question to Eze Onyekpere, I beg your pardon. Eze, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
Well, this appears to be a rather unfortunate incident because Nigerians are taught that with the suspension of the governor, the state of emergency, and the resolutions reached between them and the president for the governor to come back, that we've had the last of this unnecessary bickering. I think Rivers people need peace. They need a stable government that will run their affairs to secure their welfare and secure the state, rather than this endless bickering. It's all about 2027, who controls the resources of the state, because I thought that the legislators and the governor are now in the same party. So what is this bickering all over? What is this issue of reviving things that had led to some quarrels and then settled, and we're still bringing them back? These are not unconnected with the recent visit of the former governor, FCT minister, to Rivers State and all the disputations over the Christmas period about who should be in control and who is not in control. So this does not augur well for the state. I don't think, from the way they're sounding, because it's like gross misconduct is anything the State House of Assembly deems to be gross misconduct, because the courts may not interfere except on matters of procedure. So it's an unfortunate scenario, and I don't think it augurs well for the state.
Okay, let me come back to Todimu. Now, we understand that in Nigeria, the governor and his deputy are separately elected and therefore should be separately impeachable. But then, in this case, should the governor and his deputy be pushed out at the same time, which would unequivocally mean that the speaker inevitably becomes the governor, and that will also inevitably be a win for the FCT minister. What then happens next?
Well, the procedure of the law is very clear. The appointment, the election of the governor is distinct from that of the deputy. And what they have done in this instance is that they have brought the same allegation, they have brought allegations of gross misconduct against the governor and, of course, against the deputy governor of the state. What the Constitution provides for is that if these allegations are proven and the impeachment proceedings succeed, what happens is that the power now devolves on the Speaker of the House of Assembly, pending the election of another governor. So, as it stands, that is what they are trying to accomplish, to get the governor out, and of course the deputy governor. And of course this can only be done if the allegations are proven. And of course, since the Speaker of the House of Assembly is likely to gain more if this action succeeds, it should be, his outburst should be controlled. It should be without sentiments, because we are talking about the structural procedure of the law, and he cannot be an umpire in a match that he's playing in. As a matter of fact, he should maintain a respectable distance, and of course, allow the provisions of the law to take its course, because justice must not just be done, justice must be seen to be done. If the governor is guilty, if the deputy governor is guilty, they should be properly tried, investigated, and it should be very clear that the process was unbiased and the process was fair. And I think that should be the position of many right-thinking Nigeria.
Okay, let me come to Eze now. We have seen cases where the constitutional provisions for impeachment were overlooked and violated. So let's say that an impeachment will indeed happen. Are you confident that for once we will have a lawful process?
I believe they will have a lawful process. Of course, they have to appoint the right panel. And judicial remedies are available to the governor and the deputy governor if the process is not followed to the letter. Just like my colleague did say, what we are witnessing is that the way the speaker is going about it seems like he has an interest to serve beyond the ordinary, and he's already looking agitated and angry. And so what we're expecting is that the proper procedure should be followed. And if that's not followed, I believe the courts can intervene. But the courts are not going to intervene to determine whether gross misconduct has been happened or what amounts to gross misconduct, because that should be within the province of the legislature to make that determination. And of course, that should be based on the report of whatever panel that will be set up, the chief judge has to set up to look into the matter. It's not going to be a tea party, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's going to involve a lot of stakeholders, and the state will be, at least for now, destabilized for a period of time before either the impeachment succeeds or it is stalled. Personally, I don't think this is good for the state. I want all the lawful provisions, the constitutional provisions to be followed. And of course, if it is followed to the letter, maybe we may have a just resolution of this matter.
All right, thank you for that. We also have joining us now Dr. Hector Goma, who we earlier introduced. Now, Dr. Hector Goma, I was saying earlier that you are from Rivers yourself, and for a while, many people thought a political solution was the right path to resolving this crisis. But then it appears that matters have taken a different course. So is impeachment the right thing at this time, considering, the voices from the people and then the allegations? Are they, many people's, I mean, of course, the administration claims that it's baseless. Are they truly? Dr. Hector Goma, are you there? All right, let me just direct the question at Todimu. I know you necessarily don't have to be from there. Okay, Dr. Hector Goma, let me reconfirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead if you got the question.
No, I didn't hear the question. Could you repeat it?
Okay, so I was talking about the fact that for a long time, many people would have expected that a political solution was the right path to resolving this political crisis that we've had on our hands for a long time. But it appears that the matters have taken a different course. So is impeachment the right thing to do at this time?
It is a wrong thing to do. It is wrong. In any which way you look at it, trying to impeach the governor of Rivers State, it is wrong. I mean, like we said, I went to primary, secondary, tertiary education in Rivers State. This is unprecedented. No governor is perfect. A governor like Alex Oti is doing exceptionally well. No governor is perfect. But there is nothing that current governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi, has done over and above what any other governor in the state has done. This is all about resource control. It's all about state capture. It's all about using the resources of Rivers State to sort out a few people. That's all this is about. It's never about governance. It's never about doing what is in the best interest of the people of Rivers State. This is a personal agenda, and I think civil society and the people of Rivers State will need to rise up. Otherwise, even our great-grandchildren will pay the price of our silence.
All right, thank you for that. Let me ask Todimu one last question, and that is regarding appointments. Now, let's look at the facts of the matter, right? Was it true that the governor deliberately bypassed the assembly, or is there a legal gray area somewhere there?
It's an allegation, of course, and they have written to the governor to of course, the constitution provides that the right to the governor to respond to the allegation. If they claim that the governor bypassed certain procedures in appointing officials or executives into the state, he would have a response. If at that time the House wasn't sitting, or he did send a notice to them and they refused to honor it, I'm sure that the governor will respond appropriately to them. And if there was a misconduct or an overreaching act by the governor, of course, that will be sanctioned. It's not necessarily that it has to be impeachment, because this provision, the provision of Section 188 is very explicit and very clear that all the procedures and the steps must be followed verbatim. Any variation would nullify that process.
All right, so let me come to Eze now. How do we even see a resolution at hand, regarding this? It's looking like what they truly want is for him to come to terms with the things that they're accusing him of doing and probably make amendments. But then some would say that they actually do just want him out of the picture. So is there a resolution in sight?
Solution can only depend on how the parties react to themselves. But if you look at the rhetoric over the Christmas period and the New Year period, it's so acidic, and it appears that the parties have had in their pathways how they want it resolved, particularly filing this impeachment notice first thing in the new year when others are just considering budgets or those policies that should set the state on the right track in the new year. So unless there is a higher authority, maybe the president or anybody that intervenes to bring them back to the table, it doesn't appear to me that they want a resolution. Everything seems to be like everybody will deploy his powers. Whoever wins at the end of the day takes control of the state. And just like been said by the colleague from Rivers State, there is nothing in this impeachment notice about the security and welfare of the people. It's not about their education. It's not about health. It's not about improvement of infrastructure. It's simply about who controls the state. Outside of the duly elected governor, somebody else wants to dictate what happens, and which is not right. I think it should not be encouraged, because the way these things are going is going to imperil democracy, is going to imperil freedom, is going to imperil sustainable development in the state when there will be a governor and somebody else simply wants to dictate what happens in the state, even though the person is a minister. That's not the way of democratic consolidation. It's a very unfortunate scenario. And like I've been saying, indigents and citizens of Rivers State should come out and resist this, because we can't continue with tyranny and just one person imposing his will on the whole state.
All right, let me ride on that and direct the next question at Dr. Hector Goma. Now, with what we have established, do you think that there needs to be some checks put in place to prevent abuse of impeachment, of the impeachment process by the Assembly? Because the way it's going, it looks like speculators will say that there's a lot of personal agenda inside of the conversation. So what checks should be in place, if any?
I'll be honest with you. I feel very sad as a son of Rivers State. I feel very, very sad. And I think this matter has gone on for too long a time. And I think it is time for the people of Rivers State to come out and be counted. I don't see a political solution really, because when you look at it, if you go back to the foundation of the problem, it goes all the way back to the selection of Governor Siminalayi against all those who wanted to contest as PDP governorship candidates. They were all jettisoned and one person was selected. And with all what has happened from his going from PDP to APC, which is ridiculous, and all of the national interests in Abuja and all of that, I think it is time for the people of Rivers State to get up and do what is right. I don't think there will be no political solution, because now it's as if those in Abuja versus the owner of Rivers State. And I think the people of Rivers State, if we don't get up and do something in Port Harcourt today, then God help us.
Okay, Todimu, regarding what Dr. Hector Goma has just said about the people pushing back, we have seen a level, pockets here and there of the people of Rivers State pushing back, and this is not the first time that they would be doing such. So the question is, how can or how is the public opinion in Rivers State influencing this whole impeachment process?
I align myself with the position of my learned colleagues, and of course, what is happening in Rivers is quite unfortunate, and it's heartbreaking to see that the wish of one or two few elements are directing how the affairs of the state is being run. And of course, in all these fights, we have not seen how it is for the betterment of the lot of the people of Rivers State. Having said that, the officials of the House of Assembly are elected. It is time that the indigenous, the citizens of Rivers State would act according to the provisions of the law. What can they do? They can begin to put pressure on their elected officials to do justice by them. And what is justice by them? To ensure that the Rivers State government is allowed to run like a democratic system. They can put pressure on the members of the House of Assembly, and if they refuse to yield to their pressure, they can begin the process of recalling such recalcitrant members. That is what the law provides for.
All right, we want to appreciate you gentlemen for joining us and lending your voice to this conversation. Thank you so much, constitutional lawyer Todimu Ige, and also Dr. Abiy Hector Goma, Rivers State stakeholder based in Leeds, United Kingdom, and of course from Abuja, Eze Oyimpere, a lawyer as well. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much.
You're still live with us on the 12 Report. Go on a short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Stay. Many thanks for staying with us on the news. Now to a sad development. A road crash along the Lokoja-Ajaokuta highway in Kogi State has claimed the lives of 5 people, including 3 children. The accident occurred at about 11:40 a.m. on Tuesday near the Gidanbasa community, following a head-on collision between a Toyota Aventus car and a Sino truck belonging to Dangote Cement PLC. The Federal Road Safety Corps says 12 people were involved in the crash. 5 victims, 2 adults and 3 children, made up of 2 girls and a boy, died on the spot, while 7 others sustained varying degrees of injuries. The injured were rushed to Ekpe Hospital in Ganaja and Asko Hospital in Ajaokuta for medical attention. The bodies of the deceased have been deposited at the Kogi State Specialist Hospital morgue in Lokoja. Away from that now, mounting refuse continues to dominate a key area of Karu, where the residents are saying there has been no change despite repeated complaints and previous assurances by authorities. The unevacuated dump site has remained in place for weeks now, spilling onto the roadway, restricting movement and raising serious public health concerns. Residents describe a daily struggle with foul odor, flies, and the fear of disease outbreaks. We're joined now live from the scene by our correspondent, Sumaya Abubakar, who has been monitoring this development. Sumaya, I can see that you're standing in front of a pile of garbage, and we have been having this conversation for the longest time. And one would think that by now the authorities would have done something about that. Is there an update?
Yes, good afternoon, Blessings. Indeed, this is a really sad situation. We know that News Central has been on this case, for the longest time, and we were able to we have garnered different reactions, from the FCT administration. Each time we come out to make this report, after 2-3 days, they come and, evacuate this. And then recently, our report that we did, and also my colleague, it made the FCT administration to release a phone number contact saying that any person living in FCT, whenever they dump site like this, then they should reach out to these numbers because contract has been signed and all. But we're able to talk to few persons around, residents here, especially in Karu FCT, and they say that considering the contract, that there's been an underlying issues there because the people the contractors also have money or something that they're still waiting for the FCT to pay them. So they still withheld payments, and that is why they are not taking this thing seriously. And I would tell you for a fact that the FCT, that's the FCT election coming up, which will take place by February 21st, is now, people are now using this dump site as a campaign rally, making promises, because Abuja, that's the FCT, has never been like this. And this is just one of the dump sites. We know that in Kurudu, there is also lots of, dirt being thrown, and people can barely even make pass the road and make movement. And let's not talk about the stench coming from these things. So yes, other opposition parties are now using this as a campaign promises, which is really disheartening because these are basic amenities that the FCT people should have, considering this is the nation's capital. So far, we know that the FCT administration has made some few promises, but yet the situation continues. And for the people here, it is really frustrating. I mean, people are still going about their businesses, but I have to tell you that, Blessing, just by me being here for over an hour, I have noticed different type of insects here. And I would say, even for myself, I fear for myself, not to talk more of people living in this area. So it seems like with every complaint, this seems to be falling into deaf ears, and the FCT administration seem to be more occupied by other things than the safety and well-being and health of the FCT resident. Back to you.
All right, Sumaya Abubakar there with the Abuja refuse crisis. One can only imagine the smell and, of course, the germs that, would be coming from that. And unfortunately, people have gotten so used to being around that because, again, what can they do? Thank you, Sumaya, for the update. And now fresh fears are mounting as violent attacks sweep across multiple states, leaving dozens dead in just the past week. In Niger State, residents of Katsina Daji are calling for a military barracks after a bandit attack on January 3rd killed more than 30 people and destroy the local market. Now, hundreds have fled, fearing the attackers may return. The community's proximity of Papiri, or to Papiri, the site of a recent mass school abduction, has also heightened safety concerns ahead of school resumption on the 12th of January. In Katsina State, a fragile peace deal collapsed on Monday night as gunmen attacked 3 communities in Malumfashi local government area, causing widespread destruction. In the southwest, 5 National Park Service personnel were killed on Tuesday night in Oyo State. The officers died during a shootout after armed men stormed a park facility in Oloka and then fled the scene. And in Benue, 5 persons were also killed by suspected herdsmen in Kwande local government area on Tuesday. The National Association of Resident Doctors has directed its members in 91 tertiary health institutions across the country to withdraw their services completely and indefinitely from 12 a.m. midnight on Monday, the 12th of January 2026. Now, they say the directive was due to the federal government's failure to honor a memorandum of understanding entered with the association. The association says that the MOU, informs the totality of its demands, comprising 19 in number, and they address critical demands bordering on improved welfare, increased salaries, and issues affecting resident doctors' professional practice nationwide. News Central's Aisha Saliu is live to give us details of the issues resulting to the planned strike and the position of the federal government through the Ministry of Health. Aisha, let me just start by asking, what are the resident doctors asking for?
Blessings, I'd say it's nothing new. These are the demands they have always asked for, and this time around they're reiterating and they're targeting this strike action to be a total shutdown of facilities within the healthcare sector, total indefinite and complete strike, and where they say no implementation and no going back. And part of their demand that has always been on the table would be that the reinstatement of the Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja 5 back to the same facility with full payment of all outstanding salary and arrears, promotion of payment and payment of salary arrears, implementation of the PAT with inclusion of arrears in the 2026 budget, skipping and entry-level issues, specialist allowance, house officers issues, membership certificates, constitution of committees on local practice and work hours regulation, amongst other demands. These are just a few of out of the 19 demands that they have stated on the table, asking the Federal Ministry of Health to attend to these issues. And the doctors are talking tough this time around, saying that until these demands are met holistically, they won't be going back to resume duties at the healthcare centers.
So, Aisha, has there been any response whatsoever from the authorities? Are we looking to even receiving a word from them?
Blessings, I would say just earlier in the week, say on Tuesday, the federal government through the Ministry of Health, I'm talking about the person of the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, he came out and then there was a press statement that was released afterwards where he said that the Tinubu administration is dedicated to ensuring that Nigeria's healthcare sector is well taken care of. According to the Minister of State for Health, he said the president has demonstrated this commitment in November 2025 by approving an upward review of professional allowance for health workers, adding nearly 90 billion naira to government expenditure annually. And then he says that the increment covers call duty, shift duty, non-clinical duty, and rural postal allowances, and was reached through joint negotiations involving all health worker groups. But then I would say that the resident doctors are saying that even with the government saying they have done this and this is on the way, they still say that there is more of the government is not really demonstrating what it should demonstrate, which is total and holistic commitment. But from the part of the Ministry of Health, they are saying that it's not about neglect, that the healthcare workers are not neglected, but their demands are being met. But then I think this will give us the question of how serious Nigeria is regarding the healthcare sector.
Okay, Aisha Saliu, thank you so much. Apologies for interrupting you, but because of our time, we have to go. But thank you. That's Aisha Saliu there, giving us the update on the planned National Association of Resident Doctors strike. Now let's head outside our shores. A former Guinean security chief convicted of crimes against humanity over the 2009 stadium massacre has died in custody. Claude Peavy, a former colonel and security minister, died on Tuesday at a hospital in Conakry after complications linked to diabetes. Peavy was found guilty of his role in the violent crackdown on pro-democracy protesters at a stadium in the Guinean capital in September 2009, when security forces opened fire on civilians. A United Nations inquiry reported that at least 156 people were killed, hundreds injured, and scores of women sexually assaulted during the incident. Now, an immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis has sparked controversy after a federal agent shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. The Department of Homeland Security says the woman tried to ram ICE officers with her vehicle, calling the act violent and injuring an agent. But Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey disputes that account, accusing federal agents of reckless force and urging ICE to leave the city. Now, video shows agents confronting the woman in her car before gunshots are heard as she drives off. Investigations are ongoing. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has defended the officer, saying he acted within training to protect lives and described the incident as domestic terrorism.
Of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family.
Right now, joining us from London is News Central's senior international correspondent and anchor, Afia Hagan. Afia, what do we know so far about the circumstances that led to the death of Renee Nicole Good, her being shot by an ICE agent in Minneapolis? Because the officers are saying one thing, the passers-by, the eyewitnesses, and generally people are saying something entirely different.
We know about Renee Nicole Good, 37 years old. She was a US citizen, and the very graphic videos that have been circulating on social media show her being shot by the ICE officer. It's thought that 3 shots were fired in her direction. Then the car veers off and crashes. There's also other video of someone who identifies himself as a physician asking if he can check a pulse, if he can help the woman in the car. An ICE officer is replying, saying, I don't care, we have emergency services on the way, but they didn't turn up in a timely fashion while this physician was trying to help Renee Nicole Good. So local leaders in Minneapolis, obviously very, very angry that this is taking place in their city. Now, this happened only blocks away from where George Floyd was killed in 2020. This is a city that knows violence at the hands of law enforcement. In this case, it was ICE officers. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, very, very angry, saying that the claims that this was self-defense are incorrect. He used much stronger language that I'm not going to use here, but also urged ICE to leave the city. Tim Walz, who's the governor of Minnesota, of which Minneapolis is a part, has also said that he doesn't need any more help from the federal government, doesn't want ICE in the state, and is prepared to deploy the National Guard if necessary.
All right, News Central senior international correspondent Nanka Afia Hagen, thank you for bringing us the update on that. And it's quite sad to see what has happened, and we look forward to seeing what more comes out from the investigations. We're still staying in the U.S. From there, we head now to another story where the White House has announced plans to withdraw from 66 international organizations following a sweeping foreign policy review ordered by President Donald Trump. The decision, finalized on January 7, 2026, will end U.S. participation and funding in organizations the administration says no longer align with American interests. Under the order, the United States will pull out of 31 United Nations affiliated bodies and 35 non-UN organizations covering areas such as climate policy, migration, labor, and global governance. You're still live with us on the news. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, the chairman of Nigeria's National Sports Commission, Malam Shehu Diko, has said that the financial entitlements of Super Eagles players and officials ahead of 2025 have now been fully resolved. We'll bring you the details when we come back. All right, now to sports stories. The chairman of Nigeria's National Sports Commission, Malam Shehu Diko, says the financial entitlements of the Super Eagles players and officials ahead of AFCON 2025 have now been fully resolved. Diko confirmed that all funding arrangements for the tournament were approved by President Bola Tinubu as far back as November 2025, adding that the NSC, the Nigeria Football Federation, and key members of the Super Eagles squad are now aligned. This clarification comes amid reports from the team's camp in Morocco suggesting renewed tension over unpaid bonuses and allowances, a situation that has reignited memories of the November incident in Rabat. Right now, we have a News Central's correspondent in Morocco, Udoka Njoku, to give us the latest from the Super Eagles camp. Udoka, what exactly is going on? I mean, following Malam Shehu Diko's assurance that all financial entitlements have been settled, what is the immediate reaction within the Super Eagles camp?
Thank you very much, Blessings. Yes, as at yesterday morning, there was a crisis in the Super Eagles camp concerning unpaid allowances. But of course, I remember before the tournament, Shehu Diko was asked, talking about the president of the NSC, he was asked about allowances, and he said that we will not have any issues concerning allowances even until after the Nations Cup. And it is surprising that we had that story yesterday. But as at last night, we heard that the CBN had already disbursed money for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It was a necessary delay, a normal delay that happens when it comes to transactions with the banks and, of course, the CBN getting down to the players. That was why we had that assumed crisis from the Super Eagles. But, of course, it's been settled now, and the players trained yesterday. And as at now, we're heading to the airport. We have to stay somewhere to talk to you. The Super Eagles will be airbound in a couple of hours, heading from Fez to Marrakesh. We're hoping that we can get a glimpse of the Super Eagles when they land from the airplane. So it's been settled. Monies will be paid to the players. They trained yesterday. They agreed to train yesterday. They'll be on their way to Marrakesh in a couple of hours.
All right, Udoka, thank you for bringing us the update there from Morocco. This debate around Nigeria's new tax laws really comes down to one question: who actually bears the weight of reform? Let's look at this. Labor unions, the NLC and the TUC are asking the federal government to pause the implementation of the new tax regime. Their argument is simple. The government says the reforms won't affect the common man, but Nigeria's new minimum wage is 70,000 naira the last time we checked per month, and that's about 840,000 naira a year, which means that under the current framework, that income level is not tax exempt. So in real terms, the common man will actually pay. Labor's concern isn't just about taxation in principle, it's about timing and it's about context. Inflation is high, food prices are up, transport costs are up, rent is up, and wages, even at 70,000 naira, still don't stretch far. The unions say introducing new taxes now without clear protections for low-income earners feels like asking people who are barely breathing to hold their breath a little longer. But we'll see how that pans out. That's your postscript. And on that note, that's the end of the 12 report for today. Do well to send your eyewitness report to us because we want to see what you see. And also you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central Television. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.